All right, we're in, I think. Let's see. It gives me yay. We've been
Yay!
fighting all of the problems. I just got another error message. Oh my goodness. I think
I
I think
know. Oh
we're
my
just gonna see
gosh, this
what
thing's
happens. I feel
cursed.
like I have enough hard drive space. It's probably just
Yeah.
below the limit, but anyway, starting over. We have
Okay.
finally made it. We're gonna have
That's
a
all good.
conversation now. Yeah, me
We
too. Thank you for
are.
joining me,
I'm so
Lisa.
excited.
Yeah, I'm
No
Shift,
worries. Thank you for inviting me.
and I really like your vibe on YouTube. What made you start your platform? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Um, what made me start was probably I find that in my life I don't have a lot of
Mhm.
people who think the way I think. So of course I thought, well, I'm going to join the internet and put out content that I enjoy watching and making, and hopefully eventually people will gravitate to it and they think like me
Yeah.
and maybe make some
Okay.
friends. And that's kind of the whole reason. And also I like to I just feel like a lot of people these days are just, especially TikTok, they're just like filled with just absolute garbage content.
Yeah.
It's nothing of substance,
Mm.
and I think it's a bit harmful. So I think trying to take a situation and try and change it so people will have a bit of critical thinking
Wonderful.
is my
Okay.
goal.
That makes
So
sense why I was drawn to
yeah.
you. That's basically what this show is entirely about. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, responsible platforms are kind of like my favorite thing in the world. And I can't remember exactly what the first video I think I saw of yours, you
100%
were
agree.
talking about something tangential to pop culture, but not quite pop culture, and then I saw you talking about something with Britney Spears, and I was like, "I'm hooked." Like, that's
Yeah, it might have been my, how influences, like, just never
that's
get
the one.
canceled, like, the whole cancel culture thing just doesn't doesn't exist because we've just got these people on such a platform that we think that we know them so well, and people are willing to die on a hill for someone they've never met, and I just think the whole
Mhm.
thing is just quite bizarre, in my opinion. And I know that with the Britney Spears one, the Free Britney one, that was just out of pure, I'm a Britney fan, obviously. And it was just frustrating to me how many people would just, I felt was getting everything so wrong. They were just focusing on such uh, a bad area. They were just focusing on, oh, is she dead? And it's like, well, that, how is that helpful to the conversation if you're going to think she's dead? Like, how does that help? Starting a conspiracy theory out of the movement,
Yeah,
it doesn't make
there's
sense to
so
me.
much going on with
But
bad actors in the movement now. I don't know how it could have gotten this bad this fast, except like it makes it it's there's so much mental illness all in one place. It's like a concentration of mental illness and attention, and then
yeah,
different types of mental illness, because a lot of people think that
agree.
they are not mentally ill and they're like judging the situation like they're an authority and not recognizing that they're projecting their own mental
Yes.
illness in. So now it's just this big weird soup. Uh
Yeah. It's just toxic, the situation. I think it's getting to a breaking point where I think in as little as like 3 years time, people are going to be
yeah.
looking back and just completely
I hope
cringing on
so.
this whole thing and going, what the heck? It's going to be a documentary in itself. The Free Britney movement is already in documentaries, but the whole toxicity of it that's coming to light is just, it's going to be so many documentaries. And I mean, I've only just started my YouTube career in a way, and
I
I'm like,
actually
this is just
it
going to
hadn't
keep going.
occurred to me, but you're
It's
right.
just going to be,
Yes. That's
yeah. It's just going to be, it's just more to that. And I just think a lot of people are hopping on. Like, I just see it on TikTok the most where people are saying, like, oh, Sam Asghari has got control of her Instagram and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's say that's true. What are you putting
mhm.
out? Like, what are you doing to help? Like, you can't do anything to help. That's the reality. The Britney's not being held legally anymore. She's a grown woman. We have to accept that she can get herself out of the situation if she chooses to. But it's just hard, I think, for people to swallow because they're not.
That's
She's not the Britney
certainly the
they
thing.
want.
And
You
then
know,
part of it too
it's
is
just like,
like in order to formulate a life, given all of the things that have happened to her, she is surrounded by an ecosystem of difficulty
Mm.
developing any pathway besides what she's known, as all of us are coming through anything that we come through. So I think people kind of
Yeah,
project like their own
yeah,
interpretations of how she should be behaving. Like, so there's so many, all the different
yeah.
possible ways.
I think they all think
Yes.
that she should
Yeah.
just sell up.
I've seen people saying
Yeah, they think she
with
should just sell up
without
and buy a
anybody.
house
They want her to
somewhere, and it's like,
move to
if
another
that's what she
country by
wants, sure.
herself is what I've seen
Yeah,
people say. And they're telling her, "Brittany, you've got it," like she's listening to them. Like
yeah,
they're the one that's gonna come through, but there's so many different takes.
yeah.
Like,
I'm sure there's aspects to her life that she enjoys. Like, I'm sure, like, I've never obviously, it's something both of I will, like us will never know, is that she's had this since she was a child, that people have been sort of a
mhm,
yes person to her, and it only probably was in the conservatorship that she started being told, no, you can't do those things. So maybe she is back to being like, yes, yes, you can do whatever you want, we don't care. I personally think the only conspiracy theory that sort of may hold merit is that they're sort of letting her do whatever she wants, but manipulating it in a way so she's coming
mm,
across a certain way. I think a lot of her videos, if you look at them when she's like wearing her clothes and she's like doing her little dances, I honestly feel like she's been asked to film that for like a
oh,
stylist or something so they can see how she's wearing the clothes, and they've just taken that and
interesting.
played around
That's
with
an
it.
interesting take.
And that's how I just feel like she's just having fun because she doesn't think it, she's not, she thinks she's having fun, like in the sense that no one's going to see this. Or if she is, she's just like, well, who
Mhm.
cares? It's just a bit of fun. Like, I'm just wearing
Yeah.
clothes. It's cute. But everyone's like, oh no, she's
Well, and
being
I've
held
seen people
hostage.
saying that, like, all of
I
them
think,
are different women and they're all basically body doubles. It's like a menu that they're it's like
oh
the
God, I've
Wayfair
seen
thing,
that.
and I'm not necessarily s I
Yeah.
try to, especially when I get a theory presented to me that I'm like, "That's absolutely batshit." I try to choose agnosticism because
Yeah.
I am it's
Yeah.
more helpful for me to figure out how to have a humanizing conversation with whoever is having these ideas than not. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm fucking wrong, perhaps. I don't, whatever.
Well, I mean, I could be completely wrong. She might have like
Well, she
three
should
body
have body
doubles for
doubles.
all
She's
we
one of the
know.
most
Like,
famous women in the
I'm
world. It
sure.
wouldn't make sense for her to not have body
Yeah,
doubles, but for them
exactly.
to have a factory
Agree.
line of body double clones that they're
Yeah.
selling to very rich men all over the world, that one I'm not quite
Yes.
sure what to make of it. I
Yeah.
did yesterday I was talking about that one with someone though, and I had a
Yeah.
moment where I was like, "Well, I live right near that area that not like super close to her neighborhood, but like the general area that her neighborhood is in." And it's
Yeah.
like kind of the opposite of a ghetto where it's like opulent houses and fancy people doing whatever they want in there, but it's like triangular and there's not many ways in and out, and you're
Yeah.
like anyone coming in and out is known. But these people's theory is that it would involve local law enforcement and all of this other like these levels of showing through. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, and being in LA too, now I just recently moved here and I'm like, people here actually are pretty crazy with weird ideas that they have and stuff that's going on and the things they expect to be able to get away with. And so part of me is like, okay, maybe like slide it into like a not
Wow.
totally, I just don't know what to, like that level of fuckery makes me terrified. So that's part of why I want to
Mhm.
acknowledge it, but
Yeah.
also it's like,
Go down that
yeah,
rabbit hole.
yeah, I wonder.
Well,
It's
LA's a
nuts
bit of
here.
an odd place.
I'm
So,
absolutely. I'm
if you
calling
don't
it
mind me
the
saying.
capital of narrative, or like it's like if Washington D.C. is where like the political and socio-political shit happens. This is where the PR happens for the country
Yeah.
or whatever. Like people just making things up. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and
It's odd. I've only ever been to the airport, and that was an experience in itself, and I was like, "This
how
place
is
is
that an
odd."
experience? I'm actually
That's all
so
I could think
curious.
of. It was, so I was going to Orlando because I wanted to go to Disney because that whole capitalist it got to me. I've been wanting to go since I was a
I've
kid,
been.
and I know there's a Disneyland in
You
LA, but I wanted to go to
you
the big
hop
one.
through
I want to go to the
Anaheim
big one,
area to go to the big deal.
and
Got it.
so yeah, so my flight had to basically had to land in LA and then get a flight it was with American Airlines.
Whatever.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it was. And they were supposed to do a direct flight. And for some reason, they decided to cancel it due to weather, though my airline, who I booked with originally, told me it was still going. So I was very confused. So I went up to the desk because that's what I thought, I'd just be like, hey, what's going on? Because they gave me new tickets, right? And the tickets was to go to Charlotte, which I'd never heard of Charlotte. I don't know where that was. I had to
Right.
Google it. It's in North Carolina. I had never been in North Carolina, but okay. They wanted me to go to North Carolina. Wait, I had to wait a day in LA. So I had to somehow find a hotel that night, go to Charlotte, wait another night, and then
Whoa.
go to Orlando. And I'm like,
You
I'm
could
not
almost
doing that.
drive
That's
there.
stupid.
I think it's one
So
more
I
day
just
to
was like,
drive there. Like,
well, that's what I thought. Literally. So I was like, well, that seems silly. So I'm anyone who knows me, I'm
no.
not confrontational at all. I'm just like talked like this. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, are you sure there's like not one seat anywhere for like the next 2 days? Like, I'm happy to go via somewhere else. I don't care. And she just stared at me, this woman, and she was just like, it's the holidays. Because it was just after Christmas. And she's like, it's the holidays, ma'am. And I'm like, yeah, acting like that
Mm.
doesn't happen every year. Like, I'm confused. And she's like, I need you to just accept what it is and go back to your hotel. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've just come back. I've just flown in from Australia. I don't have a hotel. And she's like, it's not my problem. I'm like, why are you being so mean? I don't understand. So eventually I found some lovely lady who did help me, and I ended up going via Philadelphia. But during that time, I'm like going through security, and like I was just holding a bottle of water, and they like screamed at me
Oh yeah, they'll
for
do. Yeah.
having it. It was like,
So
what? It was so
is there
scary. I was like, what the
TSA?
heck? Like, drinking out of it.
I have no passport, so I actually have
Mm.
not left America. Is TSA different here all over the
Oh,
country, or
okay.
is it just LA?
Oh, hell
Okay.
yeah.
Whoa.
All over the country, it's different. So I've been to New York a lot, and I've been to Florida, I've been to Chicago, I've been around a bit of America. In LA is the weirdest. Like, they're so aggressive.
That's
It's
wild.
so angry. And they're just like, it's like, even in different countries I've been luckily and blessed to travel all over the world, and they are just like they yelled at a woman for reading a book. She was just waiting in line, and they were like, she was like, you can't have that. And this woman, which the weirdest reaction was, she got the book and then just threw it in the trash.
Oh,
And I was like, what? Like, aren't you going to read your book? Like, just put it in your
they get
bag.
people to throw things away so
It was
frequently.
so
That's funny
bizarre.
because they'll do that with like liquids a lot. That's why the can's there. But how
Yeah,
bizarre!
and I'm
Oh
like,
my
what's wrong with the
god.
book? I was like, and I just didn't understand. And just even when that was the other thing. I went to try and pay for some water on the plane, and they were like, oh no, it has to be an American card. And I was like, okay, bit weird. I don't have an American card or credit card. I was like, I have Visa or MasterCard. I
That's
thought they were
I thought they
accepted all
were
over the world, but
too.
apparently not. I was like, oh, can I give you cash?
That's
Well, apparently
crazy.
not. And I was like, oh, can I give you cash? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay. So I asked the lovely people of LA next to me, because I was sandwiched in between two people. And I was like, hey, really sorry to bother you. Can I give you some money? And because
Mhm.
they were buying stuff anyway, I was like, can I give you some cash? And can you just get me a bottle of
No
water? And they were like,
way.
no. They said- they went, no. And the other person, I don't know what they took. They took a pill and they just went to sleep like that. And I was like, what the hell? And
Oh
he was like
no.
drooling on me. And I was like, what do I do? I was so like, oh, and I was just like, I've already flown 14 hours before this. I was like, I just want to get there. And it was like 2 a.m. when I landed. And I just was like, I was supposed to go to Disney like the next day. And I was like, nah, I'm not
Oh
going.
my
I'm going to have a
god.
break because that was just
Yo.
a lot.
And then wait, so
So,
you were traveling to specifically go
yeah.
to Disneyland by yourself?
No,
Okay.
I had a
Alright.
friend with me, but we were pretty chill about it, and because it was his dream and my dream, and we were
Mhm.
going to meet with friends too. Because I was from the UK originally, so we had friends meeting us there, and it was just going to be a whole group thing, and it was fun.
Alright.
But yeah, it was just stressful. But that was the thing. I think they were trying to get us to sit together the whole time, and I was like, I don't care. Why don't you
Oh,
sit
okay.
next to
They're like, if
him?
we
It's fine.
move you
I
around, we
just
have
want
to
to get
move you
there.
together. And you're like, no, just get who's gonna get there first? Send us both however you send us.
That's what I said. I literally said, I'll take a different plane. Like, we're fine. We don't care. We're not that. I mean, we're friends, but we ain't gonna be like this. Like, let's just
Wow.
go. But yeah, we finally got there. And in the end, they put us on the
Hmm.
same plane anyway. It was weird. I don't know. It was bizarre. I mean, it was great. It worked out for us because we just thought we'd just have to wait at the end.
What
But
year was this?
I was really upset because I was supposed
Oh,
to go via Philly. This was
okay.
2015, so it was a while
Yeah.
ago. But um, and we went. I was really excited because they were doing
Mhm.
it via Philadelphia, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've never been to Philadelphia. I want to try a Philly cheesesteak." And I had a 4-hour layover, but the plane was delayed for that long. I had to
Oh,
run from my one plane to the next. I was so sad, and and they still wouldn't let me buy any
oh my
water.
God,
It
you're
was
running and
terrible.
dehydrated.
It ended up being
Poor
like,
thing.
yeah. I'm just like, I don't
I don't know why
understand.
anybody would ever come to
I'm like,
America.
what
I
is
I don't
wrong?
know. That sounds legit. I'm like, yeah, we're like that. That's all right.
It was honestly, but I will say that when all is said and done, like I haven't, like I said, I haven't been outside of LA airport, but hello, that's my dog. Sorry, um, he's just wanting attention. When you get to LA and they're just different people, you go to like New York or even Florida, and they're just so friendly. Like everyone's just like a love service. Like they're, I don't know, maybe they're just really nice. And they love Australians
Okay.
specifically. They always ask about it. Though they don't know a clue about where I live or anything. They just kind of be like, "Do you live near Sydney?" And I'm like, "No, I live nowhere near Sydney." I'm like, "Do you know the Great Barrier Reef, like Finding Nemo?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I
Okay.
live
All
there."
right. That,
I can go out on the reef pretty much
wow,
anytime
that's
I
a
want.
useful
So that's
identifier
good.
that I know that reference to. That's good.
Oh, you do?
Cool.
That's good. But yeah, I just say North Queensland and people look at
Yep,
you like,
that one I
but
wouldn't know. You
you're
say
like,
Finding Nemo, and then I'm like, right there. Yeah.
no. The film makes no sense because they end up in Sydney and it's like, they're nowhere near each other, but that's okay. It's
Didn't they
just a
take the
movie.
express route though? They like ride with the old turtles or whatever through the right?
Yeah, but the express route like ends. So like the top of Australia is like here, and the express route like ends here. Sydney's like down here, so it's like they'd still have a heck of a swim from there to there. Like that's only like I'm
All
halfway
right.
there,
Well,
but
they pulled one
it's
over.
fine. It was a good
Yeah,
movie.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Sorry,
I
kind
am
of was on a
enjoying this
tangent there.
tangent.
Sorry.
That's all right with me. Yeah, it's funny though because
Oh, that's good.
well,
I do
it's
it a
just
lot.
another example of like pop culture inaccuracies being like a useful like this is like it's benign and
Yeah.
helpful even as bullshit sort of like
Yeah.
it
Like, yeah. Like, I get a lot of put another shrimp on the Barbie. I get a lot of that. We don't say that. It's not a thing. We don't even have
that's
shrimp. It's prawns. We
hilarious.
don't do that. It's
What
like,
is that? That's
why?
Crocodile Dundee,
And
right?
everyone is obsessed with Steve Owen.
That's
I
fucking
think so,
wild that I
yeah.
even
And everyone's
Steve
obsessed with
Irwin,
Steve
right?
Owen.
That's yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which I get, he
He's
was a
just
great
one
guy,
dude.
but it's just like everyone acts like, oh, did you know him? It's like, do you know how big Australia is? It's like the same size as
So
America. Like, no, I didn't know.
good times.
I've generally been, I've been asked what
Whoa.
language we
All right.
speak. That was an
Oh,
interesting
that's
one.
fun.
I was like, I've been told, oh yeah, English is really good. I'm like, okay, because it is. That's what we talk.
That's fun.
But okay.
All right. What kind of Americans are asking
But
questions
yeah.
like that? That's like, are they from like the South? Ooh,
Uh,
oh,
honestly, seems to
uh-huh.
be Florida people.
Nope.
I'm sorry if
They
anyone's
can take it.
from
They
Florida.
can take it.
They're very
They're
nice,
always acting
but
out. They deserve it.
they just that seems to be
Yeah.
the general consensus. That and they can't understand we live in the southern hemisphere, so they don't understand when I've had to explain that we don't get like a white Christmas. There's no such
Oh,
thing
yeah.
as that. It's hot down here, but it's our seasons are
Mhm.
backwards to yours. So like when you're having winter, like I'm in the middle of summer right now. It's freaking hot as, and they just couldn't get it. They were just like, but why? And it's like the
They're
earth. I'm like, you need to the earth. I don't know. I didn't make it. I don't know how it does it, but it's in the southern hemisphere, and that's just how it all works. I'm like,
tilts
I
and
don't know.
shit.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it just is what it is. But yeah, that's the oddest questions. But like I say, everyone's so
Mhm.
so nice. Um, when I go over there, and I love it. So I wanted to move there, but eventually, just your politics
Yeah,
got a bit
yeah, I
odd.
would stay the
So I
fuck
was
away
like,
from here. It's
eh.
getting weirder by the minute too, as far as I can
We
tell.
all went, it is a bit, if you don't mind me saying. It's like, because I feel like I don't like to talk about it too much because, I don't live there, so I don't know the full whole of it. But it's like, just from an outsider's perspective, it's like, what the hell is going on
I
over there?
mean, frankly, I
Just
would
like,
prefer to hear outsiders' perspectives than what people are saying in here because it's tight propaganda. Like
yeah.
people for the most part are either really wrapped up in it or they're trying to figure out a way to relate to somebody who's really wrapped up in it so they're halfway into it anyway. And like
Yeah.
I only know a small fraction of people that are really like
It
they
just
have their head screwed on and they're able to see through the bullshit. Uh,
Yeah, it just feels like you're all being pitted off against each other, like, you're either one side of the fence or the other, and you're just, like, completely missing the point.
mhm.
It's like, if you don't like the like, if you just meet
Yeah.
in the middle just a
Yeah.
little bit, you'll get a good result, but it's just it's just like, wow, you gotta give you that. You're all very, very strong, and when you have a belief, you're passionate about it. I love to
Well, I
see it.
mean, to some
It's
degree,
just
it's
like, wow.
like every like ideology is like disproportionately represented by whoever the loudest bitch in the room yelling about it is. So my whole thing, I
Yeah.
really abstain from a lot of opinions. I have a lot of information. Sometimes I will have feelings about things, but opinions are
Yeah.
like work. And I don't really understand why everybody feels like they need to make one about everything they're aware
Yeah,
of. And then usually people who do
I
that
agree.
think that every conversation I'm having with them to do with any topic is me having an opinion and them having an opinion. And that's reductive and bizarre. And that
Yeah,
they think we're debating,
I
they think that
agree.
we're whatever it is. And I have to do it's so much like rhetorical
Yeah.
gymnastics and performance I have to do to contain an actual
Mhm.
conversation like I'm trying to have about like most charged
Yeah.
things. But if we don't talk about them
Yeah.
better,
No, I
they're not gonna
completely
move.
agree.
Uh, I don't
100%. I think the biggest thing is people need to get rid of yeah, you have an opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion, but stop. People need to stop stating it as like it's a fact. Like it's not a fact. You're allowed to have
yeah.
both. Like it's people don't seem to separate the two. Even here, like nowadays, it's just like people, you can be passionate about something and that's great. It's a great thing, but people make it like their whole personality and be like, this is it. This is the answer. It's like all of them is like, you're 18, calm down. Like you haven't even lived life yet. It's like I hear a lot of it and you're like, okay, cool. I mean, especially with my studying, being a therapist, it's amazing to me just how many people have diagnosed themselves with things just because of the media. They've said that, oh, I've got an anxiety disorder because TikTok
Mm.
told me so. It's like, what?
Yeah, a lot of the time,
You're allowed to have anxiety. That's very
people should
normal
have it
to have
sometimes.
anxiety. It's when, well, you have to. It's actually part of your flight or fight response. If you don't have it, you would be dead.
All these kids
So
think they're
that's why you
supposed
need
to
to
all
experience
these kids think they're
anxiety.
not supposed to ever be uncomfortable. They think it's a disorder if they're uncomfortable, and
Correct. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. And I mean, really,
It's actually how we
yeah,
grow
no,
and
there's a whole
learn.
mechanism where I mean, it's similar to like when babies fall, there's a way they can be treated where even if they're injured, they don't fall into
Yeah.
psychologically being like stuck in the injury. And even
Yes.
sometimes they could be very
Yep.
injured and they're just running around like nothing happened because they didn't connect with it
Yep.
cognitively. But for the most part, what ends up happening
Yep.
is an overreaction to it, and then it's a fixation. They're stuck on it, depending on how that's facilitated and
Yep.
who's around them and what they do with all of that, it can get very cyclical and drawn out. But I see that
Yeah.
happening with like mental stuff and discomfort. Look at this
All the
planet, like
time.
this country specifically is insane. I am
Hmm.
alarmed at people who don't have anxiety or upset about things that are happening. That's weird. Um, this Ohio
Yeah.
train thing, for
Yeah.
example. I can't even with it. I'm looking at the information. I'm like, it's not penetrated me to the degree that it's so
It's not even
massive, I
getting
can't
there.
process it, and I recognize that. That's the
Yeah.
disorder, not the things that when I look at it and get anxious, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I have a diagnosis of
Yeah.
PTSD. My therapist is very cool about not like, I'm like, "It's not a disorder. Why do they call it a disorder?" He's like, "I know." Like, it's the
I
thing that happened to
agree,
me was
yes.
disorder in society. I respect you're telling me I responded properly and they still call it a fucking disorder? What are we all supposed to do with that? If that's the experts, trickle down that's trickle down
Yeah.
idiocy. Like,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do
Yeah.
if we
No, I
can't
agree.
be uncomfortable and deal with things together. And my whole thing, I'm noticing I get a lot of people in my DMs wanting to talk about stuff like this. A lot of people misinterpret my identity and project things on me, and they come to me thinking they're going to find a reflection that they are usually very shocked is not who I am
Yeah.
when they get there. Um, but I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of narcissism in these anxiety conditions, and people want to be coddled and taken care of it. And I sound like a fucking boomer Gen X ass asshole right now because it's
No.
overblown to a significant degree, and a lot of the conversations
Mm.
that are happening that instigate it don't make sense, or they're, like, not conclusive. They cycle on the same like, just scratching the same itch, the same spot,
Yeah.
and not even acknowledging there's, like, a whole infection in the arm, and, like, we could deal with other parts of this problem, but, um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many little nuanced like political commentary arguments that go into people's very intimate identities and social situations. So it's almost like a I don't know, like a tangled knot that like untangling it on one end pulls shit on the other end, makes it tighter, something like that, where it's like
Yeah.
funky inertia.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. It's so hard because I work with a lot of Gen
Mm,
Z and I feel like they I think they're just using me as free therapy while I'm training. And but that's fine. But they're just a lot of them just seem to think that they needed to have a disorder to feel a part of their
yeah.
peer group. They needed to and I think with social media the way it is, they feel like it's magnified to the point that that's their identity. It's like, well, this is my identifier. I have ADHD. I have OCD. I have PTSD. It's one of those things that they just feel this pressure that, okay, I've been diagnosed. I need to be spreading awareness. I need to make
Oof.
this who I am. And it's like, well, no, that's not what you should be doing. You should just, yes, that's who you know, it's not who you are. It's a part of you, but it's not everything about you. And I think a lot of the younger generation are just so they're actually a lot more judgy, I think, than
Mm.
we were. Like in my age group, I thought we were judgy. Like we went through the whole skinny jeans and all that stuff. That was a rough time.
Metrosexuals because they
But
showered.
they're really
Yeah.
yeah, it's real judgy now. Like people will get canceled for drinking the wrong I don't know, kind of water these
Mm.
days. It's just like but it's not achieving anything. It's just kind of going, "Oh, well that I don't like that. That doesn't fit my way of life and that upsets me." It's like, "Okay, that upsets you. Why does it upset you? Why does someone doing that upset you so much?" Like that's the conversation they should be having instead of like, you upset me." It's like,
Well, that would go
look
into if it's things
inside.
about water, I'm assuming, that's probably got to do with the where the water's sourced or what kind of bottle it's in, 'cause they're all worried about the planet, that they're not gonna
That's
get to reap
exactly
a
it.
harvest that
Yeah.
we already don't. I'm not worried about it the way they're worried about it, and I don't get to have an adult life either the way I wanted
No.
or thought I was supposed to. This place is burning up. It Ohio. Um, but, yeah, I
Ohio.
mean
I've heard
oh my
about
god,
that.
it's the wildest thing, the wildest thing, and it's not just
Yeah.
Ohio, there's been, like, 8, I think, derailed hazardous materials trains and, like, a
Oh,
semi truck or
wow.
something. I, again, can't process it. I have a disorder about it at this point. I
No.
have been rubbed raw about
Yeah.
fuckery, poison, like, and I'm just
Yeah.
getting my shit together. I'm living my best life. I have the greatest things going on. I couldn't be happier with my job and everything
That's
that I'm
good.
about right now, and still somehow, uh, this has got to be happening in tandem, and I literally don't have the bandwidth to process it. So
Yeah.
I've never really had this type of an experience. I'm usually really self-aware about my bullshit. Like, this is what I'm doing. All right, leaning in. But I've
Yeah.
never really had an experience where I'm like this, like, mentally removed from something
Mm.
like this. Like,
No, well, it's fair. It's a big thing, and even myself, I've had things like that happen that I just have to just turn it off because it's like I'm going to drive myself insane if I keep thinking about how the world is and things like that. Because if you did think about it all the time and you're a good person because you care about all those things, it's like, because that's what the projection is. It's like you need to think about everything all the time. You're going to lose yourself, I think, at some point. I think I even mentioned it in one of my videos, is that how you can't be this complete selfless person, because in the end you just end up with no
mm,
personality. You're just giving all the time because everything you do is, and even then he's like, well, are you actually a good person? That's a critical thinking. Is like, are you just doing it out of guilt? Are you just doing it because you think that's the right thing to do? Like, where does it go from there? Like, morally, are you doing it because you want to? Because the vast majority of people would probably say deep down, no. You're doing it because you feel like you have to do it. Like, let's be for real. I feel like in Australia, they've brought recycling, like really push recycling, which is great. Great for the environment. We love that.
is it?
But people, if they were, it's one of those things. It's like, long term, what does it do when there's people who like don't have a place to sleep at night? Which is the problem that's more. It's kind of like, well, that's great, we've recycled the cup, but what about Bob? He's sitting on the street, hasn't got anywhere to sleep tonight. I don't really think the cup's the issue, but let's just real push that one. It's just a bit odd to me. That's where I go with my brain. That's why I have to turn it off, because I'm just like, okay, the recycling's the problem, not this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's just odd. Just yeah, I'd end up going actually insane.
I'm just like very
Probably
hung on
have
that point.
already.
That was a really good point, and I feel like if points could like win
Sorry.
awards, if I could frame the point, if I could like extract it from this conversation and put it on the wall, like that
Thank
was
you.
great. Yeah. That's that bullshit that
Thank
got me to
you.
invite you in here. Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
This is me sober now.
Yeah.
Wait, if you give me an alcoholic
Oh, next
beverage.
time.
That's why I've never done drugs a day in my life, because my friends are like, please don't, because you're just gonna
Oh crap.
spiral.
Yeah, no,
And I would
psychedelics.
be
You're
like,
already there. If you haven't done them, you don't need them.
they said that, they're like, Lisa, these are your sober thoughts. Please don't ever touch weed. I'm like, oh, okay.
Amazing.
They're like, you're just doing. They're like saying you're doing weed thoughts without
That's hilarious.
taking it.
It's
I'm like,
true.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it's hilarious. Gosh.
So that's why I just drink water most of the time.
Good. Yeah, okay. Alright. An example to us all. My fucking God. Um, I mean
That's why I keep my youthful skin. No, I'm
I
joking.
mean, sure. That's yeah. This is why I have wrinkles. I'm not this is the first water I've drank all month. That's like
Are you serious? You
probably
don't have
about
wrinkles.
that.
You look fine.
Oh boy. I no, just this the Free Britney movement's done this to me over the last 6 weeks. I was like, that's been
That, and I saw only bits and pieces of what you've posted because I've just been under the pump. But like with the whole Alexa Nicholas thing, I've been seeing that going on. I'm just like, oh. To be honest, like I have no horse in that race. I don't. I only know a little bit about it, but I've only ever heard her on a podcast with the girl from bloody Even Stevens. I forget her
Christy
name,
Carlson
and that was a weird
Romano,
podcast.
who needs to talk to
Yeah, that was
me, but we'll get to that another day.
they're they're an odd that was an odd podcast to listen to. It was a bit, I was just confused
I'm so
the
curious
whole
on all your
time.
takes. I'll listen to anything you have to say about that because I actually worked on that podcast. I did they were about to
Oh,
air
you
it.
did?
Yeah, I got to review it before it released, and I was like, "Oh, you need to edit this, that, and the other thing." So you got my version is what you saw.
Yeah.
What they were about to put out was
Oh.
weirder, actually. I'll tell you what I had them cut after
Oh,
you
I
tell
can
me
believe
what you
that.
thought.
I can believe it just felt like they were kind of tippy toeing about the issues. Like, she always goes and talks about the story about her in the bus with Brittany and
Mm,
Jamie. And I keep going, and she's like, "Oh, well, my mom was in there, and all this stuff." I'm like, and there was the bit where she had to have a meeting with people afterwards, and again,
mhm.
her mom wasn't like didn't go in with her, and I'm like, why? Where is your mom? Like, why is that not a question? Like, I'm like, where's your anger? I don't want to ever tell anyone how to feel, but it's like, where's your anger towards your mom to let you go alone in those situations? Like, that's where my anger would go. I'd be like, you've put me in this situation. You've left me here. Like, you're supposed to be protecting me. Like, where were you? Like, why aren't you helping me go through this? It just feels a bit odd.
I will say that
That's part of my what opinion
hypothetically,
there.
this is what I'll say to that. Hypothetically, if a failed
Okay.
former child actor, for example, who had a long gap in their IMDb resume that you any one of the public can go and see the shows this person's worked
Yeah.
on, hypothetically, not necessarily anyone whose name might be Alexa
Yeah.
or Nicholas or any mother of hers, but
Yes.
hypothetically, if that person
Yes.
didn't have a super great relationship with their mom, but they were thinking, maybe I can reemerge into the world as this weird kind of political figure that's like a lighthouse to people who've had trauma in their world and sort of seem like I'm the
Yeah.
best thing ever, it would be better for casting if you and your mom are talking. And if there's a chance that you might get big checks soon, your mom who
Yes.
was willing to sell you to the industry as a child essentially might be willing to
Yeah.
show back up and be
That's exactly
present for
it.
that. Also, especially after you just had a baby, there's all that like maternal narcissism happening. Everybody's all like,
Yeah.
"Ooh," with their fucking hormones and shit.
Ooh,
So
baby.
yeah, hypothetically, I did meet her mom.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
all
I spent
hypothetically.
a pretty significant amount of time with her mom when I was visiting LA in October and November last year. I went trick or treating with
What was
them.
the vibe?
Odd.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually will talk more with you about that
I
after
would
the
have thought
episode. We
so.
could have another
Yeah.
episode where
Yeah,
we talk
that's
more
why.
publicly, but I will
Yes.
fill you in privately on all everything that happened.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
met her
definitely
father-in-law and I met her mother, and stayed at their house for
oh,
5 days, and
because
it was weird.
it just baffled me because I'm like, there's absolutely no way that that didn't affect their relationship. They can't like just from my studying, I'm like, there's no way that didn't affect their relationship. And I just feel like a lot of the anger is being placed on Brittany. And again, I understand that this was a bad story, a thing that happened to her that has upset her,
She
and
probably had it
it was a
coming.
lot for her to
She
take.
probably had it coming. It's honestly, when you work
My
with
point
people. Go
is,
ahead. Yeah.
I just feel like, like a bit. I think where you were going to go with it was, you're gonna get yelled at a job. Like, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't get yelled at as a child, but you've been put in this adult situation. It's gonna happen, and I don't agree that the situation should even. I don't like child actors anyway, but it's a bit odd that you're only talking about it
Mhm.
now when the issue was years ago. Because if it was me and I'd been fired, like the first thing I would be doing, and if it was my parent, I'd be like, "We're talking to the outlet." I understand that. Oh, I'll end my career. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, "No, I just got yelled at by Britney Spears." Like, and you're not telling me that a tabloid wouldn't pick up on that during that time. It's not like they were praising Britney.
Well,
They were trying to dump on her at all costs at
let's
that time.
let's play around
So,
with narrative a little bit. Let's do some PR, okay? Because you've got the circumstance.
okay.
Let's say it all happened, right? All of it happened.
Yes.
There's the story
100%.
of, oh, my pop star idol came in and yelled at me when I was being bullied already, and oh, woe is me, I'm the little lamb to the
Yep.
slaughter, innocent poor. And then there's another
Yep.
narrative where the most famous pop star in the world gave you hard mentorship and you rejected it to the point that you still, after years of more opportunities, were
Yeah.
worthless to every agency and manager and couldn't
Mm.
get any more work. And then maybe I'm
Yeah.
not exactly sure of the specific timeline of things, but I'm fairly certain it was becoming less and less interesting to go to so many auditions and only get these very few
Yeah.
roles. It was getting weirder and more, like the Children of the Corn thing. And then I think Mad Men,
Yeah.
like Mad Men was her last role before going on this big hiatus. And
This
that
whole
was
thing.
a
Yeah.
very long time ago. But yeah, and going on tour with
Yeah.
the ex-husband and all this shit. His lawsuit against her got dropped
Yeah.
today, or that was announced that it was
Oh,
dropped
did
today.
it?
Frustrating to me, but he wasn't suing her. He
Mm.
sued her lawyer for frivolous, like filing
Okay.
like malicious intent with filing a frivolous lawsuit kind of stuff,
Mm.
which is hard to prove because he would have to prove that the lawyer knew that Alexa was lying and had evidence that he knew that she was lying, like that
Yeah,
she
I
knew that she, yeah, the
suppose that
whole,
makes
like,
sense.
if
Yeah.
ultimately, though, I think it was a reasonable move for him to make the more I'm learning about things, which sucks
Yeah.
because I don't like him at all. I don't like anything I've heard
Yeah.
about him. But recently, because of my public broadcasting about my criticism of her, some people from her childhood and teenage years and 20s have approached me. And I've
Oh
gotten
gosh.
to get, yeah, I have some scope on stuff. I think she was
You
probably
would
a
have,
little shit
yeah.
on the set, and Brittany was like, "You're not gonna work in this world if you keep
A
treating people
hundred
like this."
percent.
What a blessing for
And I
pregnant
think,
Brittany to talk
yeah.
to this little brat at all. Like, what a
I just
blessing.
think it just seems it just from an outsider's perspective, because I don't know how, I call it Holly weird, but
Yeah,
it is a bit weird, the whole thing. But it just seems to me like to get to that point, there's got to be. I feel that there is something missing here in the middle because I'm not saying that she wasn't ganged up on by all the other cast because Jamie got to them. For I get that. I went to school. I understand how that happens, but there is always a little bit of truth in it. There has to be that you were probably. I guarantee whether she knew it or not at the time, was being disrespectful to Jamie in some way. And she was like, hey, that's not cool. And obviously, it's Jamie's show at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to sound like what
it
was it, like the
is.
producer who said it to
It's
her?
not
It's
Nicole
Jamie's show. It's not,
101.
it's
Yeah, it's
Zoe
not.
101. She's the star. So it is, whether you like it or not, you're in that industry. If she wants you gone, you're gone.
Hmm.
That's
Well,
how
and
it
the other thing,
works.
Dan
And
Schneider's a puppeteer more than he's a director. I would say, given what I know about
yes.
production, every element of every frame, every expression, the cadence, the inflection, the way that they move, all of that is
Yeah.
super pristine, almost like they're claymation from the way they describe it, like
Yeah.
comparatively to like, I don't know, like any other fucking chef, the Yellow Jackets or
Yeah.
fucking like, I don't know, fucking even Joss Whedon. Like Joss Whedon was a pretty tight. Every
Oh, yeah.
shot he's pretty specific, but I wouldn't have ever thought of the
Yeah.
word puppeteer for his work.
Yeah.
Good lord. But yeah,
Mm.
Alexa as a grown person, I imagine would have a hard time under those types of production conditions, and was probably more malleable as a
Yeah.
child. But also, I don't know. I've had so many moments with this person where I'm trying to piece together like what's real, what was a mask, what was actual personality and identity, because it was such a
Yeah.
we were in like it was like 5 days of very close time together after spending I'd been in town for 10 days prior to that, and I'd been over to her house maybe like
Mm.
5 times during the 10 days before I was over
Okay.
there. So, I just can't, it's weird in retrospect to think what would possess her and her husband to make them so confident about what they're putting on to invite me that close
Yeah.
for that long. Like, because they kept offering for me
Yeah.
to stay there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good. But it was like
Yeah.
40 minutes drive from my hotel to their house. So I was thinking, well, I'll go up there and crash there. And then maybe I'll get a hotel up the street for the last couple days I'm in town or whatever. I play it
Yeah.
by ear. I'm flexible, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a trip because uh, I don't know. It's Holly weird. Like it really is Holly weird.
It's Hollywood. It's just the way things are. It just doesn't, like, I'm nowhere part of it or anything like that, and I don't want to be part of it. My goodness, it would shake my head. I don't think I would be
If you
invited.
move to America ever, I would say living in LA for at least a month is a good idea. Or like around LA because it's not all in LA. Currently, I live outside LA in like the hills, which
Yeah.
is a different kind of weird. Actually, it's like not it,
Oh,
the way people
okay.
act about being famous in LA. People are doing like, I'm gonna be like a landlord homeowner person out here. Like there's like
Oh,
this like, but they're role playing and they're just making it
I'm
up.
just
And
one of you.
yeah,
That
yeah,
kind. I'm just
successful.
like a normal person and successful. Yeah, I get that. Because it's so many different parts of Hollywood that just fascinate me. And this one seems to be the newest one. It's like, it, and not to credit South Park at all, because South Park's just its own mess, but they're
Yikes.
honestly making fun of the victim thing, where it's like, that's a brand now, is
Yeah,
that I'm a victim.
yeah.
And it's odd. And it's like
Survivor,
becoming
Lisa.
this.
We're
It is. It's almost
survivors.
being. It kills me, that wording. It's just like, as someone, like I said, I'm studying this thing and I'm listening to people who've actually survived some awful, god awful, terrible things. And they're like, I survived. You got a check at the end of the day and you had a bad time. Move on. Like, you have so much money for therapy. Go to a
Yo.
therapist and they'll talk you through it. So I reckon I could have the girl in 3 sessions and we'd be done. Be
Oh
like,
my god.
cool. Here's the tools you need to get your self-esteem back. You don't need to be seen, because that's, I think, the biggest issue is they all want to be seen, because it's like, I've been seen since I was a kid. I want to be in this industry. I want people to see me and notice me, and if they don't see me and notice me, then I don't exist. It's like, you
Mm.
do exist. Find something. There was something you find that you like there's other things outside of this. Like, you're creative, obviously. Go find something else. Like, go write.
That would be cool.
Do
Well, so that's one of the things too. From what I've seen, there are a lot of people, not just Alexa and her husband, but they're like, let's write or make a creative thing or do something. But
Yeah.
something intervene. Like the interruptions are so bizarre. But now these two particularly have gotten derailed because of this Eat Predators project. And this is, if I
Yeah.
were to say like that whole principle of like, I don't need therapy. I'm going to start a podcast instead. I'm in therapy 3 times a
Yeah.
week and I have a podcast. So that's,
There you go. See,
I am
that's
allowed to do this.
okay.
But,
No,
but
but you're
really,
working on
honestly,
yourself.
I'm trying, but I'm also a hot mess. The show is crazy. It's like I'm barely keeping it on the rails. And like, the thing about it though, I do keep it on the rails. I do my best. I do a pretty good job, and there's something to it. But with this Eat Predators thing, it's like this manifestation of like almost that like, I don't know, are you familiar with the term hoteps? Like, is that
No.
probably not?
What's
Yeah,
that?
it's like a male supremacist, black supremacist, like pseudo religious cult kind of. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's I'll leave it at that for now. But
That's fine.
I feel like a lot of them tend to get podcasts. They're like a subgenre of the podcast world where they like only talk
Yes.
about misogyny and bullshit. Um,
Yes.
and Eat Predators is like the young white woman's version of whatever that is. Like she really should probably go in the
Yeah.
house and do like virtual therapy, but instead
Yeah.
she's out in front of the local store screaming.
You're getting people to pay for you to listen. Like, I think that's the thing. It's like people are now paying to listen to people do therapy in a weird way. It's like, I feel like comedians do it too. Like, sometimes they just like, they're saying obviously what's
Mhm.
going on up here, and people are paying to watch that, and they're like laughing at it. And if you really like take away the laughter, you're like, this is just sad.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah,
It's
Louis
just
CK
and
kinda refined that and then turned it into a sitcom and
yeah.
then analyzed it from the back end with the sitcom, like, um
Yeah, because
yeah.
I think it's one of those things that with the podcast genre in general, like obviously we're doing it, yay, but it's one of those things where they've obviously, when they've got a bit of a script and they're actually following it, they've obviously got a point or an agenda that they're trying to hit and be like, hey, like, let's like the Eat Predators. I've never listened to it, but I'm assuming it's obviously talking about survivors. I say survivors, like,
They
of
actually
course they've
don't
had
have a
some.
podcast. You got that from the
They
website?
don't have a podcast.
There was
I
one
thought so,
episode
yeah.
recorded with Kaylee, Neela, and Alexa, and then I think that I will be getting access to that at some point, and then I might be able to
Okay.
broadcast it through this network, but it doesn't have an affiliation. It doesn't have like a plan to produce. And in fact,
Hmm.
from what I understand, Alexa has signed with management, and one of their main lawyer is Brian Friedman, who's been the center of a bunch of Alexa's protests because he's the lawyer for a bunch
Right.
of predators. So she was protesting against this guy while I was out there. She signed with. Part of why she turned on me is I had a couple of people in our group research. We had business researchers in our network, and so I asked two of the younger ones to look up. They came back to me right
Yeah.
away with, "Oh my God, Brian Friedman is the lawyer there. Can you imagine?" And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, I'll talk to her about it." When I told her, she was like, "They have a lot of lawyers there," and like it was just this totally different. But she had
Okay.
every time this man's name came
Yeah.
up, she would like literally burst into flames, and we'd have to do some kind of protest because she was triggered or whatever. Like,
Whereas
so yeah,
now
as soon as
it's
she got
like,
the
oh yeah,
opportunity,
no, it's
and
fine.
signing with was specifically to get herself a podcast just for her to do on her
Yeah.
own. So she threw
Uh,
people under the bus to ride the idea of a fake fame that she's not good at putting together on her own. Everybody's very mistaken. I was a little caught up in it too.
Yeah.
I didn't have any association to any of her shows. Well, I take that back. At a certain point after I did a writing job for her the first time, I was like, I can relax tonight and I'm house sitting and I've got all the channels from all the services at this place I'm at. So
Yeah.
let me like just look up Alexa Nicholas's name and see what comes up. And I saw she was on ER, Lie to Me, and uh there was another show that I watched when I was young that she was on. Oh, The Walking Dead. And like
Mm.
it was like pretty like when I watched the episodes, I was like, oh fuck, I remember this from being like 14 or whatever, watching it the first time, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little older, but one of the episodes to the Walking Dead character she had, I remember my sister and I like hating that character. My sister was like talking like shit talking that character for like months
Oh
after,
god.
mocking like saying one liners from that character's role.
Yeah.
And so I was like watching her repertoire, but then like texting her at the same time, kind of making fun of her a little bit and like having this like nostalgia moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, like besides that, I was really just more concerned about her putting herself in harm's way. I was concerned about the way she was kind of parading the
Yeah.
kid around. I was concerned that there was a lot of announcements about things like services or like the podcast. People are really expecting it to be a
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Yeah, I thought it was.
but
I'm like, I could have sworn I
no.
saw like a thing about it. But interesting that she's gone and signed with this management after that lawyer thing because it's just basically illustrated what my gut instinct was is that it's not been about anyone else. It's been about getting back into the fame and getting back
Mhm.
into work and it's sad that it's like okay I believe that you 100% like she's gone through stuff and it's upset her and it's obviously caused some issues but it's like well you're not willing to work on it because you're just going back to it like do you not see that's the issue if you gotta you can't complain about the system when you're part of the system it doesn't make sense it's like one or the
Yeah,
other. Like you can't do it. And I think that's the bit you're gonna. I if she has a podcast, I don't know if she started it yet or whatever. If she's
I don't
talking
think it's
about
gonna
this
actually
stuff,
happen. They might get
it
some
doesn't
recorded,
make
but I think she's
sense.
gonna
It's
get
like it's hypocritical, and it's like how can anyone take you seriously? And I think that's the part that I have an issue with a lot of celebrities that want to advocate and be this I don't know leader in helping people. It's like well if you haven't healed yourself, how the hell are you going to help anybody else? It doesn't even make sense. Like, and I want to know who their because a lot of them always go, "I'm in therapy." I'm like, "Who is your therapist? Like, are these? Do you just
he's
hire
not
people to be like,
claiming to be in
you have a
therapy.
great idea? Oh, that's good because
That's true.
if
Yeah,
she
she's
did,
not
she needs
claiming to
to
be in
fire
therapy.
her therapist. She needs to
I will
fire them.
say, from the consensus is with all of the people that grew up with her that have known her over the years, none of
Mm.
these things are real that she's describing, and that the
Okay.
things that she's saying happened to her are stories that happen to other people, except for the Britney thing. But again,
Okay.
you can look at it as she was abused by this pop star, such an icon. Can you imagine? She threw up. It's so sad. Sometimes
She
anxiety
got
makes us
told
throw up.
off. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's a process, and it's a whole you can look at it a few different ways, but ultimately, either way, whether it was abusive or not, she didn't learn the lesson in there, and
No.
just wants to keep milking the story for sympathy,
Yeah.
which is actually so one of the people from Alexa's youth, I noticed there's an expose website that came out. I have nothing to do with. I keep having to tell people I didn't start this fucking website. I
Yeah.
don't know most of the
No.
things that are on it. But they're saying on there that she blackmailed Britney Spears is the phrasing that was used. And I
Oh,
was like, what the
wow.
fuck does that mean? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to one of her former friends and I said, what do you think about this concept? And immediately this girl, because she's got like she's very connected to a lot of celebrities. She's been a celebrity handler and
Yeah.
she's got various family
Yeah.
members that have been in the industry for a long time. So she was telling me, oh, it's literally just telling that story at all, because especially with the year that it was with Britney coming freshly out of the conservatorship and all of the tension between K-Fed and the kids and her,
Yeah.
just telling that story at all and saying, like, oh, she was rubbing her pregnant belly and like Preston was in there. So she's
Yeah.
commenting on the kids and all this. She was very deft, like, um,
Yeah.
yeah, almost. It's like you can't even be trained to be that devious. It's something that
It's
intuitively
it
comes.
it
Like,
is something that I was a bit side-eyeing. It's like the timing was interesting. That's the thing I
right.
always find with it. Like, you've had the story for years. Like, why bring it up right now during Britney's conservatorship? Like,
It
it
could
it
just be a
doesn't make sense.
coincidence. Yeah,
Oh,
like
we
coincidence
you
because the
reckon?
timing. Like, yeah, no, I really
Not
don't.
not an
Actually, I think
interesting
like
PR move at all.
right.
And
Yes. Yeah.
it seems a bit of stepping. Like, I feel like it's almost the one I've heard the soundbite is, oh well, Brittany apologized to me, and like, oh well, like in good grace, you've forgiven her. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
no one really cares. Like,
Yeah. And
good
she
for you.
loves talking about how before Britney had said anything that she still was in support of Free Britney is like her big deal thing. Which is that this is what's really kicked things off crazy style is that Melanie Veronica, who's like we're resolving to calling her a pundit. I have nastier words for her, but whatever. So she's like a Free
Okay,
Britney pundit. And
righto.
she's a talking head, a pink clown. I go with a lot. Like
Pink
Barbie
clown.
core gangbanger also works.
Jesus Christ, that's a
Um,
good one.
so yo, this bitch. So
I
she
don't know.
and yeah, well, I'm sure
I'll
she'll
take
show up
your
in your
word for it.
algorithms now. Yeah, like all of a sudden you'll be like, who's this pink haired bitch in my news feed? I'm like,
Who
oh,
is
sorry, I
this?
mentioned it. Yeah, we were talking. The internet heard, so acted like
That's
God and
fine.
sent it into your news feed. So sorry.
That's
So
all right.
she's local to LA, so she happens to go to a lot of the court cases and
Okay.
for Britney's conservatorship. So then Free Britney LA is like a platform. It basically like whoever gets their face in front of the podiums, whoever can get in association with the reporters that frequent Britney's things and um like whoever gets the coolest, catchiest handle on it on social media, they're the
Yeah.
leaders of Free Britney. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yep.
there's no leadership. It's chaos. It's hell, actually, hell. So
It sounds a bit like that. It's like, who's
it's
running?
terrible
I did
because
think that. I was like, who's running this thing?
it's a mess. It's a mess. I'm gonna take
Too
over
many
because I don't
captains.
like what's
Too many
happening.
captains on
That's
this ship is all I'm thinking. And no one's
yes. And
driving this
well,
thing.
there were some cool things happening for a long time, but then the people that were doing the most actual stuff, like the legal translators that were
Yeah.
going to court because they actually went to law school and know stuff. Melanie
Yeah.
Veronica is not that, but she's our only
Mhm.
like real reliable, consistent translator. She actually kept me from. I was going to go to the last hearing, and
Yep.
she didn't necessarily directly keep me, but literally nobody that I asked. There's like 7 courthouses in LA County. I didn't know which one it was at. I kept Googling different things and couldn't be sure where it
Yeah.
was going to be or when it was, and nobody would fucking help me because she's got everybody blackballing me or afraid to engage with me lest they be blackballed. I've had dozens of people block me in the last couple of weeks, last like 6 weeks, 5 weeks. So and then one person actually was just on my show doing like Free Britney research that she's been doing for years, that I'm like one of the first people that's like, hey, can you come on my show, clean your shit up
Yeah.
so that we can present it in a way that people actually want to eat? Because your website drives people crazy and nobody wants to read your work the way that you put it out, but it's great work. And I think that it's important to
Yeah.
put out. That person. I also made flyers for her rally that was coming the Tuesday after the TriStar protest that just shouldn't have
I might have
happened. It was
seen
just
that.
an
Yeah.
excuse to, yeah, like it was just a last Free Britney thing to have. They didn't need to do
Yeah.
it. They
Yeah,
just
but
want
still.
to stay relevant and they don't have anything else to do. And
Mm.
somehow merging the idea of Eat Predators and Free Britney seemed like a good allegiance
Mhm.
for those couple of people or whatever. I don't think they
Yeah.
recognize the gravity of the amount of people they've pissed off. Like the amount of
Yeah.
people that are like not interested in allowing them to continue the narrative that they're leading something that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I'm confused about what they want in the long run too, because it seems like a lot of people have gotten hurt coming to them thinking that their leadership and trying to join a movement or a group or like
Yeah.
whatever this thing is that has been whittled down to nothing.
Mm.
And also I've noticed with these kinds of things, it's not even necessarily just pop culture, but movements like this draw in people with autism and trauma conditions. Like
Yeah.
they're fixated and they have a trigger that, or like not a
Yeah.
trigger, but like a calibrator that they're
Hyperfixation.
on the frequency. Yeah.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah.
I think that's a big topic that I've honestly thought of making a video about, is just the amount of hyperfixation that is actually an issue that people aren't aware of, that it
I
goes
think
through a
that's a
bunch
really
of
good
different
idea.
disorders. There's so many different disorders it relates to, and people just think that it's normal. Like, even I see people like, yes, you can be a fan of somebody or you can be passionate about something, but when it gets to the point of you are just going with like no side of the side of you, you're just like this tunnel vision, it's harmful.
Mm,
Like, you're not, it's not healthy. And I think that's something that I think with the Free Britney movement, I think the objective has just gone for these people. They're just like,
mm,
where is the objective? And they're just picking something and just running with it. And it's like, you're gonna eventually, like you say, trigger yourself into like not dealing with your own issues and realizing that because there's a reason they're gravitating to it. It's because they've projected something onto it, and it's just so interesting to me. Like, just from someone who's just observing, it's just, I like watching people, and it's I don't know what the answer to it is yet, but it's just not healthy. It's got to be sorted.
I perhaps you are the answer to it, and people like you and like, I don't know, maybe me, like, I'm hoping,
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I mean, that's
Um,
the goal. I mean, like I said, I'm still studying. It's my favorite thing. I go, I'm still studying, and but I just talk human level, and I feel like I can be as blunt as anything, and I will just say it to, like, I'd say it to people, like anything I've said here. Like, if I don't know, Alexa Nicholas ever watches this, I don't know, doubt it.
I think she probably will.
Oh, if she
I
does,
think she definitely will.
if she does,
Yeah, yeah, she's got people looking at
I
me.
generally, because obviously I don't know her, and I don't ever claim to, and I've never spoken with the girl. I'm sure, in my opinion, just from an outsider's perspective, she really needs to work on herself, and you can tell, she could probably tell me to go to hell, but I think that that's the way forward. Like, it's not to, she's got to really think, why do I want this? And if it's just because I want to feed my family, that's probably not right, because you can get a job doing
Mhm,
something else. Like, you got to believe in yourself that you've got other talents other than going, this happened to me and this is my career now and I need to make this me. Like, that's just my
mm,
advice if she happens to listen.
mm.
I don't know. I don't think how
I
much I
can
can tell you.
guarantee that she will hear it, and that will be unsolicited, and it will probably hit a brick wall, but I don't know,
I,
I have hope. I'm like,
I
maybe it's not a personality disorder, maybe it's not, maybe it's just a mistake, maybe you'll
no. It's
I
funny. I was
hope.
actually going to do a YouTube
I love
series
it.
called Unsolicited Advice, where I was just
I
going to give
love
it
it.
to
Yo, you
people.
should just do an open letter to Alexa as your
I was just gonna pick
okay.
people and be like, "What
That's
are you
fun.
talking about?" Because I
Yeah.
forget. There's just a bunch of people that I see, and it's just like, here's some unsolicited advice for you. Like, you're going
Oh my
about this the
god.
wrong
I think that
way.
would blow up. I think you should do that for sure. I think that would blow up. I think that'd be a really catchy, niche to get
Welcome to
into.
Lisa's
I would watch
unsolicited
it.
advice. Just
Yes, yes, yes. I would watch the fuck out of that. Oh
Oh,
my god.
but I literally wrote it on my notes. Like, I think it was yesterday. I was like, oh, I should just give people unsolicited advice. It seems to be my go-to in life,
I'm
and
already a fan.
people can tell me to get f. Like, I generally, like, I don't claim to know everything, but all I can say is that the vast majority of people who've taken my advice in my life have always often thanked me for it because they've gone, or if they didn't take it at the first time, they've come back and gone, Lisa, you know what? You were right. And because they know I don't judge them, even
You
if they
should have listened
completely
to
like I'm one of these people that maybe I've just been studying therapy too much. I just hold people in complete positive regard, like unconditional. I don't care. We're all human. We're all on the same rock. We don't know where it's going. let's just let's just all help each other out. Like, I don't like I'm never gonna judge someone seriously. Like, the only thing I'm gonna do is, well, that's a lie. I will judge you, but I'm gonna be honest and be like, I want to help you though. And I expect people to do the same
doesn't
for
have to
me.
be a punitive judgment. You're not
Yeah.
incarcerating them with your judgment.
No,
It's like
it's an
God,
opinion.
only God can judge, but aren't you just a little piece of God?
I,
Like,
well, that's what they say. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, that's the thing. People are religious and they have the different ways of thinking. And, like, I've been told all kinds of things, like people's beliefs. And I just go, okay, cool. And they're like, what do you believe,
mm,
Lisa? And I'm like, all I know is energy is a thing. We all have energy. That's scientifically proven. So that's it.
wow.
That's all I say. And they're like, what religion is that? I'm like, it's not a religion, really. It's just general fact. Because it's the only thing I can say without people debating me. So, you can't argue that we're not
I feel
energy.
like you could easily start a cult around that.
Oh,
You could
God.
easily just that's the center point. I might steal it for my cult.
You can do. It's called energism.
Nice. Yes.
We do
Good
energism,
times.
where we all just believe in energy. And they'll be like, where's the evidence? I'm
Yes.
like, science. That's your evidence. It's right there.
Uh-oh.
And you can believe
Uh-oh.
whatever you
Yeah.
do with it. But yeah.
Wow.
But I just think that I still live on the treat people the way you want to be treated kind of thing, and that's just all we can hope for.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't
Oh
take that
man.
advice. Unfortunately.
I am working on proselytizing. I've taken because I grew up like super evangelical Christian
Oh
as a
yeah.
kid, and so I'm like had this epiphany one day. They're the best marketers in the fucking world.
Oh hell yeah.
Like they bring that shit everywhere. And so I realized, wait, I can do that. I can be at the bowling alley and be like, capitalism's killing us, you guys. Like
Yeah.
we can't allow this shit to go on. What are we really gonna do? Let's small
Literally.
group this.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's
we're
how
gonna
it
have to commission
happens.
some
That's
shit.
what happens.
Yeah.
Well, that's literally
Catholics can carry their shit all over the world.
it is.
Like,
Well, I literally was at a christening for my niece like last weekend, and I'm not Catholic, but obviously they asked me to be a godparent, which I'm not going to deny. I'm going to be like, of course it's my niece. I'm going to be there, and they're just saying stuff like, "We're going to cast the sins out of this child." I'm like, it's 7 months old. What has she done? She's 7. I feel so bad because we're recording it. I'm like, I'm sure my face is just like, what the hell?
oh my god,
They're like, Lisa, can you put a
that's
cross on
funny.
the baby? I'm like, this feels odd. I don't like this. Like, they're
Wow,
doing this stuff, and I'm so sorry. I'm like going.
wow, oh my god,
I'm like,
you're
this
so
just feels
funny.
so odd. I'm just like, oh, it's like I didn't know what to do. I just was like,
Yeah,
I don't know why I got asked, really. They asked me what religion it was, and I said, well, I don't really have one. They were like, oh, well, we can't put that down. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know, put me
yeah,
Christian.
because they have to write you into their weird document.
Yeah, it's
They
a
have
weird
it's like a
document. And
government
I was like, I don't
document.
know, just put me down as some sort of Christian. I don't know. Pick one. I don't know. They were like, oh, well, you christened? I was like, oh, yeah, I was. And they're like, oh, well, just that. I had to ring up my mum because I was like, I don't know what it was. Apparently, I'm Methodist. I was like, I don't know what that is. I was like,
Okay. Apparently.
And she told me,
Okay.
she's like,
That's a
"Oh, you're
niche
not
one.
supposed to drink." Like, and I'm like, "Mom, you drink like every day. Like, you have a glass of wine like every night." And she's like, "I didn't say we were good at it." I was like, "Obviously." I was like, "Fair."
Okay.
Ugh,
That's fucking great.
sorry, I
Oh my
talk a
god. Okay, we
lot.
should wrap this up tonight. No, this is the greatest conversation. We fought so hard to get here, but you gotta plug
Yes.
your stuff. Tell people where to find you. I'll
Uh,
definitely have you back.
well, you can find me as Lisa G on my YouTube channel, or you can find me at Lisa G Pizzaroli on Instagram. I trying to get better at posting on there. I'm terrible at it, but I will get better. A lot of dog photos if you like my dog Bailey. He's adorable, so you gotta like that. And yeah, I'm terrible at promoting myself, but yeah, if you like the banter, this is me. So I'm not always right.
You really do have a lot.
Very,
I'm
very
finding
dumb.
hard time. It's where are you wrong is where I'm at. I'm
Where am
looking at
I
your
wrong?
videos like,
Oh, I'm wrong a
that's not
lot of the
right. That's
time.
not right.
I'm sure you'll look at the back of this and be like, "What is she on? Freaking cut that."
That's real. That's legit. Actually, I went back and I had to listen to some episodes from season 1 because I was looking for clips of stuff where I was talking about things that have happened recently again,
Oh yeah,
and, I am out of my mind in season 1. At one point, I'm like, "Oh, the Kardashian dynasty should just take over the country because, like, they have all the money and they're doing a pretty good job running their little business." I don't know what the fuck. I didn't know anything about them yet. Once I looked into research, I just knew they
yeah.
existed and was barely cataloged. So yeah,
No,
no, you can say dumb shit. That's allowed. I don't know.
no,
That's,
no. I
if I could
the
say that.
Kardashians fascinate me because everyone acts like they're original. When I'm like, Paris Hilton did a lot of that shit first, but let's not go there. Like, it's not original.
A whole other episode. That's a whole other episode about how Kim Kardashian was what, like 14 years old when OJ Simpson was over at her daddy's house having dinner
Yeah,
while they were pulling one over on the entire fucking country's legal system
yeah,
in
yeah,
front of God and everybody.
yeah.
High speed chases and everything. I don't understand. How's that man not in prison
I've
somewhere?
no
Whatever.
idea.
But anyway,
Oh wow. Well,
he's the
thank you.
whitest black man in the country as far as I know. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
No, I really appreciate you having me on. I've
uh,
never done a podcast, so hopefully I
yeah.
don't sound too incoherent. So appreciate it.
You sounded great. We were talking over each other a little bit at the beginning, but that was my
Sorry.
fault 'cause
No,
I'm
it'd be me.
exhausted
I'm
and an
freaking
asshole.
awful. So.
You're
Ah,
doing great. Thank you so much for coming
no,
on.
thank you
I'll see
so
you on the
much.
internet.
See ya.
We'd like to thank our patrons on Patreon and everyone who's bought our merchandise. Find the links to all that stuff and our social links on goodmorningmayberry.com. We've got closed captioned episodes on YouTube. Subscribe, listen, and rate us on all the podcast spots. If you're wondering who we are, we is me and my demons. And you can join the Legion by following our Tumblr, Twitter, or Instagram, jumping on the Patreon, or just buying one of our shirts and wearing that around, drinking the tears of whoever you like the least out of one of our mugs. And coming back and checking out the next episode. I'm Shift. And always remember to never forget.
Like you're either one side of the fence or the other, and you're just like completely missing the point. It's like if you don't like the, like if you just meet in the middle, just a little bit, you'll get a good result. But it's just the car. It's just like wow. You got to give you that. You're all very very strong, and when you have a belief, you're passionate about it. I love to see it. It's just like wow.